Hi, it's Nicole, and today I'm going to be reviewing World of Wonders by Aimee Nezhukumatathil. This book is published by Milkweed Editions, and this video is part of the indie press project hosted by Stephanie over at Time to Read. This is going to be probably a bit of a messy review just because I feel like my thoughts on the book are quite scattered. Overall, I'd say I like the book, but Aimee Nezhukumatathil's voice might get on some people's nerves, and I do feel like she comes across a little privileged at times. Part of the reason I wanted to pick this book up was because I want to get into nature writing, reading nature writing, and I feel like that's probably partly inspired by people like Doris at Aldi Books and Natalie from Curious Reader. They both read a lot of fascinating books on nature writing, especially as I do more forest walks and hill walking and things like that. It's something that has been interesting me more. I want to get to know my surroundings. You know, when I'm walking, I'd like to know what trees are around me, what creatures are around, what things are making the sounds that are like echoing through the forests and that kind of thing. I thought that this would be a good one to pick up rather than something on a single topic, just because it does give that broad overview. This book is part memoir and part trivia about random creatures and plants in nature. It's not very in-depth on either of those counts. It's a broad overview of lots of random things, and it jumps from different times in her life, and the snippets that we get of her life I don't feel are particularly insightful or personal, and I think the snippets of creatures and plants and things like that that she connects to her life do feel very tenuously linked. I think there was a Goodreads review, a really negative Goodreads review that I read, that I kind of have to agree with, that the connections were just very weak. But at the same time, I feel like the whole book was written with a lot of love, and I find it very difficult to knock her for connections that she is earnestly making with things in her life. Like, just because I might not be able to appreciate the fact that when her son is like super excited about stuff, she makes the connection between his expression and the expression of a ribbon eel that just, I don't know, looks shocked all the time. Like, if that's the connection that she makes between her life and random things in nature, then cool, you know, like I can't exactly criticize that, can I? Like, that's just what it is. But it does, for a reader, feel a little bit disjointed, the whole thing, and also I think it feels a little bit like the author is really reaching for these connections. But that didn't really bother me too much when I was reading. It kind of felt like I'm willing to see where she's going with these connections, and I feel like it did what I wanted it to do, and what I wanted it to do was be a broad looking dabble into what it could be like to get into nature writing. And I think this book checks a box of just a light read that puts you in the frame of mind of like nature writing and that kind of thing, and that's really what I was after. I feel like if you're looking for something a little more in-depth or insightful, this is not the place to go, but I also think that it does satisfy that thing of sharing an authentic love of something, and that's something I can appreciate. I don't have a lot of thoughts on this one, but I did like the book, so I don't want my not having a lot to say to impact how anyone feels about the book. It's just that it's one of those books that I think is a nice, sort of comforting light read, rather than something that I have lots of thoughts about that are worth sharing. Braiding Sweetgrass by Robin Wall Kimmerer, I think, maybe. That is a hugely popular book this year. I don't know why, but it's on my radar now, and I don't know much about it other than it's like a nature writing classic, I guess, and it has fantastic reviews, so I don't know. I just thought it would be a good place to start. The second book that was on my list was The Home Place by J. Drew Lanham. Nature is often portrayed as being a neutral space that is welcoming for everyone, etc., etc. However, it is a very white space, and I feel like looking at authors of nature writing, and there are very few non-white people in that space, like just talking about how this space is unofficially segregated is interesting to me. I do feel certain things when I go out walking about who I am and whether or not I'm welcome in certain spaces. And the last book I had on my list to check out from this publisher, but not actually last because there's a lot of books from them that I think sound really interesting, is All the Wild Hungers by Karen Babine. This one I think looks at our relation to illness and food, and how food can help or not, and just how we relate to illness with food metaphors and things. I think her mum has cancer, and they are saying things like the tumor is the size of a lemon, the tumor is the size of a grapefruit, like that kind of thing. And it's this relationship that this book is exploring, our connections between illness and food. Also, I'm assuming the universality of those two things, because both illness and food are things that everyone experiences and has strong connection to, particularly in these times. Everyone certainly does have strong connection with illness and awareness of that. So I think this will be a really interesting one to pick up. So I guess I'll wrap it up now and see you again next time. Bye.